Welcome to the next episode. Today we thought about talking about the whole ugh, animation education system. Yeah, that wasn't even a tongue twister, and I was like,
It happens to
so
me all the
basically,
time.
yeah. So basically, we're talking about schools and I guess where you can learn animation and
Yeah. And
yeah, and
how,
how yeah, and
what the
how
best way about it is.
exactly, and which schools that we've gone to, and which school we thought were good at least the time when we were doing it. But yeah, you can start us off, Billy.
Yeah, I guess we should like go through like our
Mhm.
history, how
Yeah,
we came about animation.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I think in a previous podcast I was saying that I was doing digital media, and then there was like one course in there that was 3D animation, and then I found out I was like, oh, this is pretty fun. I enjoy it. I'm not so bad at this, so decided to stick with that and then do the full animation course in the same college. Um, we call it TAFE here, but yeah, it was that was how I kind of got started. And I think looking back, I was like super lucky to have done that because I don't know, you never made it through the second year. We actually went to
yeah.
the same
Same school.
yeah,
Yeah,
same school pretty
same
much
time.
for
Yeah.
3D, yeah.
Hmm.
Um, but I did the second year and had a really good teacher, Vince. He was basically like a gun kind
Hmm.
of like 3D artist who just knew everything. He just knew like all the little tricks and everything in all the programs that were like good at the time, and he was always keeping up to date with like what the industry's doing and
Hmm.
learning all the new stuff.
Yeah.
So I think I learned so much from the second year. Um, that's like kind of stuck with me for the last 8 9 years or whatever of
Hmm.
being in the industry. I
Yeah.
think it's like 8 years now. But yeah, it's crazy because I think it all comes down to like the teacher sometimes.
Oh yeah, definitely. I
If you
think
have
it
a good
definitely.
teacher.
Yeah. You need someone who's uh, keeps up to date and can teach. And I think teaching is an actual a skill that
Yeah.
you can be a great 3D artist, but you could be a terrible
You can be
teacher.
a terrible teacher, yeah.
Yeah,
And sometimes it's
and
just luck. It's just like it comes down to like, oh,
yeah,
I was lucky I had a good teacher or mentor. And you did the animation mentor after, so
yeah, yeah. But
what
I
was that
guess
like?
like yeah. Before we jump into that, I guess I want to like I think we should talk about I guess for the Australians that would be listening to this like about like TAFE and more. Um, like because when I was doing it, they only had the certificate and the diploma, but now I think it's a full-on degree,
It's
right?
a yeah, you get a bachelor's at the end,
Yeah,
but it's a 3 year course.
yeah, yeah. That's a long time. So I did only the certificate. I only did 1 year, and yeah, from my experience there was a bit different because I was juggling like sort of 2 degrees at the same time.
Yeah.
So
Well, you were working on another, you were like
no,
studying another thing at that time?
so my business degree, right? So I was trying to finish off my
Uh,
business degree, and I was doing tape. So it was a bit different, but I did find that it was good to learn the whole process of 3D. I didn't know that modeling, like you did modeling first, then texturing, then animation. Like that used to be like it sounds really obvious now, but when you first start out, you have no
yeah.
clue what those things are, those
Yeah,
departments, and
exactly.
you know what's involved in each stage, and what you
Yeah.
like. Um, so for me, it was good to learn that for a year. But you hear other schools and like colleges where they force you to do 3 years or 4 years of like a generalist course. I feel like that's a bit too much of a
Yeah.
waste of time. You know,
Yeah. Like at some point you want to specialize. As soon as you know what you want to do, you should specialize.
Yeah.
just so you know you can actually get a job.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I think it's different when you specialize, then you realize how valuable it is to be a generalist. So
Yeah,
it's like a back and forth thing.
yeah.
But yeah, I think
It's
like
good to
TAFE,
know like a bit of everything.
yeah, and I think TAFE did a good job of that, and more did a good job of that, at least for the most part. Um, it was it was yeah, it was a good school, I think. A
Yeah,
lot of people that came out of it seem to be doing well.
yeah, I think
Um,
so.
yeah.
I chalk it up to like a few of the teachers being really good. Like Vince,
Hmm.
he's like the one.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, he was the one that kind of like championed like a lot of
Hmm.
the good students that came out. He was like the man
Yeah.
behind it all.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
I had Michael, Michael Allison.
yeah,
I
Michael's
thought he
like
was
a
chill.
yeah. I had Michael too, and
Hmm.
he's like a first year teacher. And then
Hmm.
you don't like it's like when you first learn 3D, you
Hmm.
just don't know like what the hell you're doing. You don't know anything, so you have to learn everything from
Yeah.
scratch, and it just takes so long.
Yeah.
And then it's like you're doing really simple things, and it takes you, you know, hours to do. So you
Yeah.
never really get anywhere that first year you're learning
Yeah.
3D. I feel
Yeah.
like even if you like go, it doesn't matter where you go. That first year you'll be
It's tough.
pretty, yeah, you'll be pretty
Yeah.
useless.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really like because it's just learning the software itself. And if you're not like a very technologically savvy person, I can imagine Maya especially being a nightmare.
Yeah, it's pretty daunting. I remember like the first year that I was going through with people, there
Mhm.
were like some people who were like just not getting it. They just wouldn't, you know, like, oh, how do I do this constraint? Like, and it was like
Yeah.
really simple. You just create like one constraint. It's not like you're creating a crazy constraint system and you're gonna
Yeah. Yeah.
bake things out and do all this crazy stuff. It's just like
Yeah.
A B constrained.
Yeah.
And then like, do I tick maintain offset? Do I not tick maintain offset? It's like
Hmm.
simple things like that that people
Yeah.
just couldn't remember. They couldn't wrap their heads around.
Yeah. I mean, like there are a lot of options, I guess, in Maya for every function or every process, like command, right? But
Yeah,
honestly, like you only need those, like I guess you only need those main ones, right?
yeah,
And the thing is, that's the thing. It's so daunting to go through those menu items at first, and
yeah.
yeah,
It's such a
it's
big
just
program that you're just like,
yeah,
oh, I'm lost. Like, how
yeah,
can I learn it all? But I don't think
yeah,
there's anyone out there who knows it all.
yeah.
You know, they
But I
probably
think
know like 90%, but you'll never know 100%.
exactly. And when you go to like, for example, like specific animation school, like Animation Mentor, you really don't learn any of those tabs. You only learn just the basic control, like functions you need for animation in Maya. But there are faster and more technical ways in doing things, right? So I thought
Yeah,
and more really helped me with that, like with opening that door for me.
yeah.
Because,
Bit more of
like,
the, you're a bit more
yeah,
adventurous to go around and click
yeah,
on things than most
yeah.
people would be.
Well, I've always been curious about like how, like, because I think maybe I worked with Photoshop since I was a kid, right? Not knowing,
Yeah,
like, I'm not an artist or anything, but I was just like, I just, got a version in my hand somehow. And then I was like, so
you
I
weren't
was
afraid
used to,
to. Yeah,
well, I was used to the software. Like, usually, like, all graphic design or animation software tends to be like roughly the same because of the industry, right? Like, they
yeah.
have, it's,
It's got a
yeah,
they've got like a language to it that you're
yeah,
like once you kind
yeah.
of get, you're like, oh, okay, that does
Like a
something with
UI,
this. It's a
UX
similar
thing.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like, yeah, it's
it's
sort
like,
of the
oh, there's
same.
a toolbar. Okay,
Yeah,
that's where the tools are. Like I go to the left to find the toolbar.
exactly.
I'll dig through
And
the
then,
menus to find stuff.
yeah, exactly. And usually after that, like, I think that's why I was comfortable with it. But yeah, like, and more definitely, like, was, I don't know. It's, it seems like I didn't learn much at that time because in terms of
Yeah,
depth of knowledge, it wasn't like, it definitely wasn't like depth
it
wise for
wasn't
me.
deep. Yeah,
But in terms of breadth and how much, like, I got to touch everything, yeah, it was quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's probably not a bad way to start if anyone's like thinking of starting. It's just like starting really broad,
Hmm.
and not trying to go too deep into any one thing,
Hmm.
and then just like touching everything just so you can see what like it's like. Maybe I like modeling, and maybe I like texturing or
Yeah.
rigging.
Yeah.
You never know what you enjoy until you kind of do it all, and then you
Exactly.
can kind of make a decision from there, like what to go deeper into.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
you
yeah.
decided to go animation,
Yeah.
so that's like an interesting choice. Like, what made you decide on animation?
I think I said it before where I was in like that wasn't my first choice, right? Like it was I had a texture, a surfacing reel or modeling reel.
Yeah,
And I just landed on animation. I've said it before, like the story, but why I chose it was because the company at the time needed an animator, and this was like for TV commercials in Hong Kong, and I wanted to be indispensable, so they needed at the time we didn't have an animator or like enough hands to animate, so I was like, okay, I'm going to learn animation, and then I
yeah,
learned it, and I enjoyed it because before I was totally against animation. I thought it was a waste of time. I thought it was, I just don't like it. But then
yeah,
I liked it. I ended up liking it because I took animation mentor,
yeah,
and yeah, it was really good. It was really fun. Um, Online school, like you have to be self motivated. I think if you're
yeah,
not, you're just wasting money. There's no like because you're never really held accountable. You can always hide behind the computer screen or like, you know, uh,
yeah. You've
there's
got no one
something,
there to like
yeah, to
to
monitor you.
push you or like to judge you or
Yeah,
whatever. You either
yeah,
fail or you make it. But
yeah,
yeah, I remember doing the first like like the stage one or whatever you call it for animation mentor,
yeah, yeah.
the
ANO
intro.
one. Yeah, the
Yeah,
basics. Yeah.
yeah, the basics. Just yeah, I just wanted to see what it was like, and I thought it was pretty good. Like all the little videos that they record at the beginning,
Hmm.
teaching you the basics. I mean, I already knew all that stuff. It was more like I was like morbidly curious. I was like, oh, I want to
Yeah,
see what this is about, like what all the rages. But
yeah,
yeah, it's kind of like it comes back to the having a good teacher thing, because I think
yeah,
like animation mentor, it's like you have some of the best animators out there mentoring you.
yeah,
But then at the same time, you've got these pre-recorded videos, which are like they teach you in a really simple, really like concise and
yeah,
clear way.
yeah,
It gets you like excited for
yeah,
animation.
yeah. Especially like so back then, they're like the lectures. I remember they still used Maya 2008 or like the light grave version. I forget Maya
Yeah,
8 or something.
yeah,
Uh, and yeah, they I think like because they were the first. I think they were the first animation school online
yeah, yeah.
that
There were.
focused only, yeah, and they did an amazing job to even be like because they're the trailblazer, right?
Yeah,
Like
definitely
they
paved the
did,
way for all these other online schools.
yeah, because they had a really good structure where it was like they had lectures, like an hour lecture a week, where it's pre-recorded, like you said, and then they had 1 hour class time with a dedicated tutor or a mentor from the industry. Those live sessions are really helpful because if you do have anything, like sometimes like I had mentors who opened up the scene and helped me out with things, and yeah, it was
Yeah,
definitely,
it's pretty good. And they
yeah,
also like I think they did like recordings of like critiques for
oh yeah,
your
yeah,
shots too. So it's like
hmm,
you get like personal feedback from your mentor on like
yeah,
what to improve. But yeah,
yeah,
I guess that works really well for something more artistic like animation. It's like a little
hmm,
bit less technical than a lot of other aspects of
yeah,
like 3D. So I
yeah,
think that worked out really well.
yeah,
It was a good idea.
yeah, yeah. So to clarify, it's like every week you get like homework, that you have to hand in by a certain time, and then so the teacher can grade it and then give you feedback, right? And I think because they're an actual school, so they have a grade system. So you have to meet a certain grade. While some of the other online schools, they're not technically a school, so they don't issue grades. Like for example, Anime Squad, they're not school. They don't give you a GPA or a letter grade. These grades don't really mean anything, to be honest, in animation.
I think it's more just to like deter people from like being lazy, because you can't move on now. Like I remember, like if you get below a certain grade or something, I think you can't move on to the next class. So
well, that's the thing.
Score like a certain level.
I think that's where Animation Mentor starts. Like, honestly, very, very good school. But since we're talking about the good and the bad, right?
Yeah.
By the last class, there were people who were still in the class that shouldn't have been there. They were getting, they were getting like not great grades, like C+, B-. But honestly, like, but I would like to think by the time you finish Animation Mentor, you should be able to get a job in TV or, something.
Yeah.
Or at least like you're close. But there would be some people that I see who, like, there's no way, like, I'm close,
Not even there. Like still missing the fundamentals.
Yeah, and that's the problem with the letter grade as well.
Yeah. I guess it's a tough thing because they have to juggle being a business as well as like trying to like create like good students, and then at some point like the business always wins. Like if there's anything I know about the industry is like as nice as the studio might be, as nice as like the company or whatever is, at some point it's just business. So if you get cut or if funds get low, people start getting let go. It's just how it is.
Was about like they have like I think they post their statistics of like passing, like people who get a job right out, like people who pass or people who graduate from the course and people who get a job right out of the course, right? And they want to keep their numbers up, so it intrigues people to sign up. So that's the business side, and I think business, like you said, always wins in the end.
It always wins in the end.
Thanks for watching or listening to our content. If you like what you saw, feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks again. Peace.